No, that's better.
Okay, that's better. Good. All right, we'll leave it as that. So, see, we could have some technical difficulties. We have some fun here to start these podcast episodes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the No Sauce Podcast with Kyle and John and Danny. Well, John's not with us again. He is actually at the Jazz game tonight. They're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's just Danny and I again. He's probably going to be mad because we were going to talk about the fact that we were going to wait for him maybe, or let him, get on this so that he could be here with us, but he's not. So we decided to start early, and, he can suck it in his nosebleed seats with his fancy Jordans, and I would share the picture with you, but I'm not going to. So I'm trying to change the decibel level on my microphone to
It's
maybe.
it's definitely made a quality change to the not positive.
Is it still loud? Is it bad?
It was just kind of growling back.
Is it good now? Is it bad still, or is it echoing? I changed some settings, so maybe I'll just turn those settings back on. See, we have
Yeah, you're mute. Okay, that's very loud.
now I'm mute. Now is it still loud?
No, that's better.
Okay, that's better. Good. All right, we'll leave it as that. So, see, we could have some technical difficulties. We have some fun here to start these podcast episodes.
We worked through it.
We do work through it. So hit the like and subscribe button as we go through the episode. I don't even know what we're going to talk about tonight. We do have the national championship game we're going to talk about a little bit. But outside of that,
let's just you led right into it. Let's talk about the irony of a Jazz fan wearing some Jordans to the Jazz game and gladly taking a picture of it. I mean, that's like LeBron's kids wearing Jordans, while he's rooting for his dad. So that's a life choice. I understand he's a confused little fella, but it's fine. It's fine.
I'm going to see if I can share the photo here. But yeah, it's funny because it's just funny. So, Jordan won an NBA title there in the Delta Center, with the push off. I still say it's a push off, by the way, because let's be real, it was, but it's Michael Jordan, so they're not going to get that call. But it is what it is. So
also a different day and age.
Different day and age in the different way of the NBA, true. And, and we got, one of the superstars in the NBA now. I can't put that photo on. Good grief. This is ridiculous. Anyways, so Anthony Edwards is at the Delta Center tonight playing for the Timberwolves. So, they got a superstar in the building, and the Timberwolves are going to win that because, that's just the way of the NBA, right? They're going to let their superstars win, and the Jazz don't have any superstars.
Oh, is that how the NBA works? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I was just talking to a buddy about this today. I used to love the NBA so much, man. And I give it a shot, man. Every few weeks, I'll be scrolling through the channels and there's nothing on. And God, dude, I'll 3, 4, 5 minutes, and I'm just like, I can't handle this anymore, man. It's just garbage, dude. The product is absolute garbage. I don't know how else to say it, man. It's just shit.
I've watched a few games, but it's so hard to watch because it doesn't feel like it's basketball anymore. There's too many 3-pointers that are shot or attempted.
Right.
So I can't upload the photo. I'm trying to upload the photo. It keeps saying there's an issue, so I'm not going to be able to upload the photo. So
that's right.
A little disappointed in that, but too many 3-pointers. It's too much one-on-one ball. There's not a lot of movement, and there's so much from traveling to fouls to the different whistles. Ever since I read Tim Donaghy's book about the NBA and how it's officiated and this, that, or the other, it made it even harder to watch because it's like you can see how things are not, I don't want to say rigged, but you can see how things are influenced and not for the better if that makes sense.
Yeah, and absolutely. And officiating shouldn't be influencing anything, right? Like, I mean, your job as an official is to not be a part of the game. You're there to
Right.
officiate, administer the game. You shouldn't be influencing the game at all. Now, it's not to say that, influential calls aren't going to happen. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. But yeah, I mean, from that whole scandal that you speak of right there, and the threes. I mean, we're taking one step across half court and casting off and all that, and that's boring and kind of cool, so many times. But I mean, like you said, there's no movement. The rules aren't followed. I mean, literally, I watch guys take. I watched a clip today of LeBron legitimately taking 6 steps, and he didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Like he literally, I mean, shuffled from side to side. That's, I mean, and the referee literally on top of it, staring at his feet. It's just, like you said, it ain't basketball, and it
Yeah.
ain't basketball at all. There's just, and the the biggest thing for me, honestly, I mean, it's all trash, like I said, but the biggest thing for me is the absolute lack thereof and then the laziness that on defense. There is no defense that gets played in the NBA.
Right.
Absolutely none. And maybe last couple minutes of the fourth quarter occasionally, and maybe a little bit when you get in the playoffs, but there's nothing. I mean, for the most part, dudes aren't taking charges. I mean, you're not, guys aren't back picking, trying. There's just no defense. They just literally, if the guys want to drive, which is not very often as it used to be, it's just okay, take it to the hoop. And your superstars are the worst at it. Kevin
Yep.
Durant, LeBron James, those dudes are the absolute worst on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. It's just it's not. Uh, I'm a basketball purist. I grew up during the Jordan and Pippen days and the Barkleys and the Ewings and the David Robinson era and
Stockton and Malone, man.
yeah,
Yes.
like
They
it's
would have
just not
probably won 2 titles if
basketball.
it wasn't for Mike.
Right, right, and yeah, it's just not basketball. I mean, it's SGA with all the calls that he gets, and now it's like if you do attack, you're just trying to look for contact to get to the free throw line instead of actually going up and faking out somebody and going up and under the basket, or you're going up to dunk it, or it just doesn't happen. I mean, I watched my dad and I watched part of a Spurs game one night when I was up at their house, and I think it was a couple weeks ago when I was waiting to go to Texas. We were sitting there and the Spurs game was on, and we're watching Wemby,
Wimby. There you go.
and he's just perusing the perimeter. He's not even in the paint. This is a 6'11", 7-footer. Like, get in the paint, dude. You have an advantage. You're long. You're like, get in the paint. Why are you standing outside the perimeter? But that's where basketball is now, where
Isn't he like 7'6"?
I don't know how tall he is.
Because Durant's 7 foot.
He's 7'4". Like, why in the world is a 7'4" dude running back and forth on the perimeter, and that's all he's doing instead of getting in the paint? I know he's small, like physically wise, build wise.
Sure.
Man, like you have a huge advantage. Just get in the paint and go rebound and
Just, yeah.
shoot a look shot over somebody or what, like this is ridiculous.
Little Mike and drill, man. Just keep the ball up and bam, dude.
But like that's
Bam.
the way basketball is, and I'm not just saying it at the NBA level, at the college level, the bigs are practicing 3-point shooting in warm-ups or in
Yeah.
practice. It's like, why not work on your game first in the paint?
It's
Uh,
trickling down now.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's absolutely, and the discussion me and my buddy had today too, kind of about this is, how all these clowns these days say that Jordan wouldn't survive in this game. That is absolutely
Jordan
opposite.
would score 60
Jordan
points
would.
a night the way they play defense in this league.
How many did you say?
60
That's
at
exactly
least.
what I was gonna say. That was the number that I had. He would score 60 points tonight because you know what? He'd go to the hoop every time and nobody would stop him.
Yeah,
Not a person in the league that would stop him.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just, I mean, it wouldn't really have to shoot threes. You know, I
yeah,
mean, it's a weak league. I don't like it, and it sucks because I love college basketball. I mean,
yeah.
as obviously you do. I mean, that's kind of what you do, right? But um, I love college basketball. I don't want the NBA to, I want there to be that separation there from the NBA to college basketball, and because it trickles down to college basketball, and now it's high school after that, right? And now the entire game is garbage. I mean, you have a
It's
hard enough time.
already trickled into all three levels, and
Well,
it's
it's true. I mean, it always trickles, right? Like, I mean, we tried to do the things that they did in the '90s, when we were on the basketball court, right? So it's going to be a trickle down effect, but it doesn't mean it's going to consume the entire level of basketball. Is what I'm
right.
saying, right?
Yeah.
Because it's got to start with officiating. Bottom line, it's something's got to happen. You've got to start officiating the rules, and
Well,
I think in college they do a little bit better of that, but
kind of. I mean, it's to a point where if officials want bigger games, they've got to officiate certain ways.
sure, yep.
And what I mean by that is like when a small mid-major school comes and plays like a BYU, the officials have to kind of favor the Cougs a little bit. Like people will say, no, that's not what it's absolutely what they do, because if a Kevin Young, the head coach of BYU, sees an official not calling a game real well, or in his opinion, he goes straight to the director of officials or whoever assigns the officials and says, we don't want this guy coming to Provo ever again. Right.
So,
So
well,
that, I'm not saying all the director of officials will you know, appease a coach like that, but that official kind of gets a mark, right? And when a director of officials goes to assign officials to games, he's going to look, who do I have that doesn't have marks or that have high marks? That it's you may not believe it. People won't believe me when I say this, but I've talked to plenty of coaches, and that is exactly how it works in college basketball these days.
So I think I'm not discrediting your information. I think your information is generally accurate. I don't think it's quite to the point though, because I'm sure absolutely are they getting demerits for not following the status quo
I wouldn't
by
say
their.
demerits. I
Hold,
wouldn't
hold
say
on, hold,
demerits. They
hold on,
just have
hold on.
those.
Just let me finish for a second.
Sure.
So maybe I'm not choosing the correct word, right? But yes. So when it comes down to it, I mean, you have evaluators at that level, right? So
Right.
you have your assigners, whatever your director of officials that handles the training. You have your assigners, and you have your evaluators, and generally that's all kind of tied together. They might be the same person, it might be the same group of people, whatever that may be, right? And obviously, the bigger conferences, the more probably people that are involved. So what it comes down to is if a coach has a problem with official, there's a standard there, and I don't know what it is at the NCAA level, but I know it's there for NFHS. So I guarantee you there it's there at the NCAA level. You get so many times you can say, "I don't want that guy," but you can only do it so many times, right? So you can blackball an official up to how many ever times, because it can happen at the NFHS level. They can do it within our league. If I got one coach, if I piss a guy off from Spring Creek and you don't want me out in Spring Creek anymore, he can absolutely go and tell my assigner, my commissioner, that he doesn't want me out in Spring Creek anymore. Now, there's also repercussions that can happen. There's waves that'll create, right? Like the butterfly
Right.
effect, right? Anytime, equal and opposite reaction kind of a deal. So people try to stay away from that. So yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. As far as these coaches get in those evaluators' ears and this, that, and the other thing, and it's there's probably a lot more involved that is even more corrupt, just because that's the type of society that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. And they send video, of blatant calls that they feel were missed and things like. So it's just interesting. Plus, the other problem is, especially at the college level, officials aren't assigned to one league throughout the season. Like there's officials that will do a Big 12 game, they'll do a West Coast Conference game, they'll do a Big West game, and they'll do a WAC game in a 4 or 5 day span. So
Really?
like, they're doing different leagues, and each of these leagues has different playing styles. And so the official has to, has that, kind of up and down, wave going, because he doesn't know how the games are going to flow for each different conference, right? And it's interesting how it all plays out, and now there's analytics. We talked about this in the last episode. There's analytics behind officiating that
Mhm.
will dictate rankings of officials too.
Right.
It's like the I think it was Utah State at Grand Canyon on Saturday. And Utah State fans are all up in arms about the bad officiating, and some people that were watching the game said the officials were awful. And you have these officials that are in the sub 150 rankings officiating that big of a game. It's like, huh,
Right.
why couldn't they've gotten better officials? But that's the thing. It's all, to me, I don't know. It's officials have a tough job no matter what. Like, there's no denying that. It's
Absolutely.
made even tougher now because everything that they call or don't call is scrutinized because of all the camera angles, all the cameras that are on them, whether it's a big game or it's not a big game, this side or the other. Like, you and I were texting last night from that national championship game, the hold on the Indiana wide receiver, like it was blatant. It was right there out in front of everybody. How do you not call that?
Among many other calls.
Right. But it's like officials aren't perfect, right?
No.
And I mean, it's unfortunate that there's times when it can affect the game the way the game is being called, right? And it could affect a big moment. We've seen that in baseball with umpires, and it's just, I don't envy officials. You're an official. I don't envy you. I mean, it's just because no matter what, you're going to be the one that's blamed for something that happens. That's like it. Nobody can take responsibility anymore. So
Yeah. I mean, as an official, we like to clown that we're always, half wrong, right? Because you are on a bang bang play. It's not about the people that are right, the people that are happy that you made the call. They're not the ones that you have to worry about. It's the people that aren't happy about the call. And
yeah,
you got to have tough skin as an official, and you got to grow with it. And as an official, you definitely have to be willing to adapt with the times, right? And even like you're saying, going from conference to conference, and it's no different than going from doing a 1A game to doing a 3A varsity game. Same type of deal. But as an official, you just got to be able to keep yourself neutral. And like I said, adapt, and you have to be able to adapt with the times, the rules, the way things are, but don't over adapt. And that's what that we've talked about this, with even some of the slow pitch stuff.
yeah,
These umpires are adapting to the teams, and that's not how it should be, right? We should just be. Look, there's a book, right, and every sport that I've officiated, there's some sort of manual, um, and and at the end of the day, it really goes down to that. And the problem is, you get these career officials, and definitely not all of them, because there's a lot of good officials out there, for sure. But you get some of these dudes that just aren't willing to learn. They're not willing to study. They don't want to open that rule book this year because I've been reading them for 20 years, right? And then yeah, man, there's little subtle changes, and there's things you forget. I mean, dude, the test calls them my Bibles, man. I literally, I've got a bag full of them. I mean, each year they kind of rotate. Some of them I keep longer than others because they don't. I mean, some of them, there's not a lot of new stuff, but there's a lot of stuff you go back to, and you run into shit every now and then on the field, and you look at your other umpire and be like, okay. Was that on the throw or was that on the pitch, right? Talking
yeah.
about, like a ball out of play, where were the runners, so on and so forth. I just took my umpire exam today too. So, and I didn't ace it by any means, So, it's nice to be able to study and read and get better. And I really enjoy fishing. I love being a part of the game. And, when it comes down to controversial stuff, and I just don't understand some things because, I like getting yelled at. I don't know a person that really enjoys getting yelled at. So I'm going to try to minimize the amount of times that I'm going to get yelled at, right? Like, but
Yeah.
it's going to happen. You can't eliminate it. You just try to minimize it, right? And some of that stuff last night, I mean, just like I mean, even the dude running up the sideline, there's literally an official like 3 yards in the replay. You can literally see the official like staring at his foot on the sideline. It's like, dude, just blow your whistle. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I understand sometimes they get told let it play out, if you weren't sure, but I don't know. I mean, I was clowning on you guys about them being Big 12 officials, and I know they're not used to big football games and all that kind of stuff.
Hey,
But
easy. I won't go on that rant
they
because we have a friend that would rather go on that rant. So yeah.
yeah, no, I'd love that. I'd love to have the two lost to the same team discussion with him. That's all I'm saying. Because as
Yeah,
far as
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
concerned, Oregon's the number 2 team in the nation by BYU logic, right? Like,
My computer's being super slow all of a sudden. I'm so not happy.
you've been you've been lagging the entire time.
I'm gonna try from my Wi-Fi to just my hardwire and see if that makes a difference. It might kick me out.
That's all right. You get
Look, I'm
kicked off, I'll just
moving.
start talking shit about Damien.
Yeah, I'm still on. So
Huh?
speaking of which, I want to get into something. So this past weekend, actually it was earlier this week. It was January 15th. So last Thursday, it came out that there were a bunch of college basketball players that were shaving points. Like a lot of,
Oh
I think it was
yeah.
20 plus people. If I remember, 17 basketball players were charged in a point shaving scheme. So one of the players was one of the players that I covered, during as my time, covering the WAC. And I was looking at the games that they alleged that he shaved points. And first off, anybody that's willing to put $82,000 in wagers on a small mid-major game, excuse me, you're I'm gonna have to bleep this out. You're a fucking idiot. Like, who does that? Like that's just
It
ridiculous.
sounded like it was
82,000.
it sounded like they had gotten like several people to do and like follow along, so there wasn't so many red flags, at least the little bit that I've been hearing. Like, I haven't followed a
Yeah.
bunch, but it
So
sounded like it was all go ahead.
this player, the bettors involved placed $82,000 in wagers that ACU, which is the school he played at, Abilene Christian was a school that he played at, would fail to cover the first half and full game point spreads. Right. um, I don't get it. Like, that's a lot of money to be placing on a low mid major basketball game. But
And that was that whole scheme. There wasn't what they said. There was one dude that now was at Kennesaw State or something. I mean,
yeah, that's
that's
been
not even,
suspended for the
it's
rest of the season. Yep.
barely a Division 1 school, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, it's all low level stuff, and that's just, I mean, just the amount of people just trying to, that there's a lot of people that said, and I think Dan Patrick was definitely stood on a stool about it. Is you let gambling into sports, you're not gonna be able to turn it back,
Yep.
and he's absolutely right. I mean, people are corrupt, dude. That's all there is to it. I mean, you give people a chance to screw some up, they're gonna screw some up, and
Well,
they're gonna get greedy, right? They're gonna
yeah,
get greedy, and they're gonna find a way to to the system or beat the system, or that's just the nature of gambling. I mean, that's just gambling. You're
yeah,
trying to beat the system. That's just the way it is. So now that we've dove into this, the only fix, and I hate to say it, is artificial officials.
yeah,
It's the only fix. I don't want it by any means. I enjoy officiating. It'll never go away. Down to the bottom level. But when you're talking about professional sports, that's the only way to eliminate the people factor, the corrupt
yeah,
factor. I mean,
yeah.
and
Well,
then you
yeah.
can still get people trying to hack into the artificial officials and whatever. That's a whole different iRobot movie. But that's just
I,
the road we're cruising down.
I just don't. I don't know that. robot officials or AI officials or whatever are going to change that. I think it's on the players ultimately. Like the guys that are in that indictment, most of them were at mid majors, right? Small mid
Right.
majors, and they're getting a piece of the pie if they do what these guys are asking. And that's where the worst part is. The bettors know that they could get to these kids and say, "Hey, if you accomplish this, we'll pay you
Right.
$10,000, right?"
Yeah.
And or something. I don't know what they were paid out or what they, but it's just one of those things that, like we've said, we've allowed gambling to one become legalized in the country, and two, we've advertised it all over the place, right? That's the irony of this
We
whole thing.
encourage it. We
Right.
encourage it.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
That's all you see on the ticker. It's sponsored by DraftKings. Is it on ESPN?
right. And DraftKings is connected to ESPN. They bought out
Yeah.
ESPN Bet or whatever. So yeah, I mean it's sad that it's happening. And now the worst part is when I see guys, and I told people this, now this is coming to light and it's recent, not that it's like 10 or 20 years old. Now when I see superstars not performing like they should or like they have an off night, it's like now I can't unsee it. Like now I
Yep.
can't get that thought out of my head. Is
Yep.
something going on?
Yep.
It's like one player I know had a rough 2 games this week, and he was the player. He won a reward last week for his performances, and it's like this came out before they played the 2 games, and it's like, no, please just get that thought out of my head because I don't think this kid would get involved with that. And then I find out why he struggled this week because it was a personal family matter, and it's like it's just hard to unsee that, right?
And
Because you have these guys to be performing night after night. And it's just like DeBonsa with BYU. He struggled a little bit this week against TCU and then against Texas Tech. Not saying he would. It's just because it's happened, it's there, right? Like it's
yeah. It's a very very valid concern. It is there, and you don't know, right? Like
right.
maybe there's a lot more to load management than we even know. Maybe dudes are getting paid to take nights off. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Yeah.
know. I could be completely wrong. But the fact that the type of stuff that has been exposed and continues to be exposed at the level that it's being done at, it's hard to not question it, man.
Yeah.
It really
I
is.
hate it too. Like it ruins. It's the same thing with the officiating. After I read that book, it just. I still love the sports. I still love it all, but it's just hard to not think about those kind of things as I
Mhm.
watch the game unfold. And
Right.
yeah, it's just
And it just takes, just like what we get told in elementary school, man. It takes one bad apple, right?
yeah, yeah,
Like, I mean, I'm sure that that most of the officials out there, are great dudes, and wouldn't deal with it. They're not, throwing flags to change games and things like that. But then again, you got one dude that is, then it,
right,
screws up the whole pot, man. It ruins the whole dinner, dude. So I mean, what can you do? But
right,
I don't know. I mean, going to the NFL, all I can say is those two catches that they're trying to compare are two completely different scenarios, right? The one
yeah,
during the Bills game, dude, nobody has the ball. It's just like a tipped ball,
right,
except for it happens to be between their chests.
yeah,
Did he have his hands on it first? Sure. Right. The fact that we've over convoluted what a catch is has
yeah,
made that why that's not a catch. In the 90s, that's probably a catch. I don't know. I mean, however it was ruled on the field, whatever it is, but that definitely was an interception.
yeah.
Like
'Cause Cooks never had control of it. Like, let's be
no,
real, they both had their hands on the ball, and then yeah, he never had full control. So
right. And then the other play, the guy clearly had possession, makes a football move, goes to the ground, his knee hits, and the guy punches it out. That's a different play. That's not
yeah,
even like the dudes that I've argued with this about. I'm just like, are you, are you even paying attention? Like, do you know the rules? Like, that, and that's another thing. Like you said with everybody, the scrutinization. Everybody's, got their phones and they're recording. I love it at, my sporting events. You've got, helicopter moms out there trying to show you, hey, look at this, look at this. Like, I'm not looking at that. Go away. Like, first of all, you were sitting down the first baseline trying to tell me where a strike was. Like, that's not even relevant, but we're not going to
Right.
have this discussion, right? Um, but it just yeah, it gets irritating in that sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good time.
Yeah.
Good time. So into our next segue here. I go back to that Penn State game versus Indiana at Penn State and that catch by Cooper at the end on that game winning drive, where he touched his right foot. Was it no, it was his
No,
left. I'm
yeah,
trying to remember the catch.
yeah, so his right foot, he was kind of crossed up a little bit, and it looked like his left foot hit out of bounds before it, but he actually got that right,
He
like
never
the
brought the
top of
left
his right foot in as he was
yeah,
falling out of
he
bounds.
never brought the left foot down. Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy catch.
yeah.
Saved Indiana's perfect season, and the Hoosiers are national champs after their 27-21 win last night in the Natty. I mean, I was rooting for them. Good run by Miami, but they've won 5 national championships. Indiana's never been there, and man,
Storybook season, man. Storybook
yeah,
season. I mean, you go back to the Penn State game, and maybe just this kind of a homer thing, but I think their momentum started in Eugene. I
it
mean,
did.
for
Oh yeah,
for for them to go into Eugene and come away with a win. First of all, not a lot of people do that. But after that, they had a tough game at Iowa too, if I remember correctly.
yep,
But the Penn State game, it seemed like kind of a launching point. But at that point in the year, that was, I mean, State was, they were clinging to life. And had they got that win at that point, the way Penn State was, who knows where Indiana would have dropped to? Like, I mean, they
right.
might not have ended up in the Big Ten Big Ten title game. But yeah, but that no, I mean, great season. Signetti, pulled something off. Greatest turnaround in sports history, you could argue, honestly. Losingest football team in NCAA history, and at the beginning of this season, they still held that record. And now they had the only 16-0 season since like 1893 or something
Yeah,
ridiculous. Just zero blue chips. They did it right, man. I wish that blueprint was all over sports once again. I mean, they did it the right way. I don't know how often they're going to be able to recreate that. Dabo Sweeney tried to stick to that formula at Clemson. It worked for a while, but then he just got swallowed up because the recruits stopped coming. And that's
yeah,
just, well, like we've been talking about, that's just the nature of the beast. Like, Signetti's got it up there right now. I just, I hope they keep rolling. The Big Ten's rolling. But Oregon, we've got 50 or so many blue chips, and Ohio State and Michigan. I mean, that's going to continue to happen. And what Signetti was able to do, and right place, right time. With Mendoza just wanting to go there because his little brother was there, and now he ends up being a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, he wasn't even
yeah,
recruited; he wanted to go to Miami.
right.
And he ends up at Cal. The only place that recruited him was Cal. So he goes and toughs it out to Cal for a while, and then it's like, hey, go play with my brother for a year just for the hell of it. Yeah, well, let's win a Heisman and a national championship. That's cool. Doesn't he seem a little Tim Tebow-ish when he
I
talks?
know. Yeah, the way he talks, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The what's his first name? Charlie Becker, the receiver. I heard a story last night, right? I think it was during the broadcast that when Signetti took over, he got all the receivers together and basically told them they need to find another place, right? But Charlie Becker was the only one he said, stay, bide your time, develop, get better. He played on special teams and he became a superstar this year, right? So I think Signetti has a better idea than like a Dabo Sweeney with all this of what he's going to continue to do, right? And I say that because he's won at the FCS level with James Madison. Now he's won in at the FBS level at Indiana, where nobody else has won because he's doing it his way bringing guys in that aren't necessarily superstars in the eyes of all the rating systems, right? But guys that one buy into their role and they buy
Oh,
into the team aspect of things,
yep.
and that's what he's going to continue to do. And if you find, I it's not comparable at all. But like I asked a Utah Valley basketball coach how they continue to win when they don't have the NIL that a lot of other schools do, right? I put out a thing the other day that they're like 34-7 over the past no, it's yeah, since like December of last year, right? And they just keep winning. Okay. How do they do that? They're not getting superstars, they're not getting big money guys. He's just like, we get the right guys in the right positions that play to their role perfection, perfectly. And I feel like that's what Signetti does is he gets these guys and he puts them in the positions to win, but they also buy into what they're asked to do as well.
Right.
Um, and I think that'll work fine in that aspect. Because go ahead.
No, I do. I just a small sample size at the FBS level. Like I understand he's successful at the FCS level and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, but the NIL is way inflated once you get to the other level, right?
Sure.
And there's just like I said, and I hope he does. Dude, I'm a proponent of what he's doing. I absolutely I like what he's doing, but also that was also created with some dudes that he brought up with him from
Sure.
MU, right? So already established, you got that. Did Becker come with him?
No, Becker was already at
Was he
Indiana.
already there? Okay, was he? I wasn't sure, but yeah. So hopefully he can keep that. He ain't gonna have the feeder system though anymore because JMU don't like him anymore because he bailed and took all those people. So you almost had a farm system there for a short window, right? You're like, hey, just go ahead and come here. So you have almost a farm system. It's just once again, dude, when people start talking about dollars, so you have to be able to land a quarterback. You have to be able to land, this, that, and the other thing. And I hope he does. I hope it
They did
works.
land a
I
quarterback.
really hope it works.
They did land a quarterback.
Well, I know that. No, you got to be able to continue. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm hey, like I said, dude. I was after Indiana beat Oregon, dude. I was definitely on the Hoosier train. Uh, but I hope he can sustain it and not bail like he said he won't.
Yeah. So here's the crazy thing. So the center for Indiana this year, he
Mhm.
played at Notre Dame last year, and Notre Dame beat um well, it beat was it SM they beat in no, it was SMU, right? That they beat in the play. But anyways,
Playoff, yeah.
he played for a national title last year.
Yeah.
How does Curt Cignetti pull that guy, you know, couple hours south to Bloomington to play at Indiana after he's played at Notre Dame? That makes no
Yep.
sense to me. But
Yep.
somehow he did. So I think there's two recipes I think he's cooking here. He's realized that in the portal he can get older, right? He can get guys that are more veteran capable, and because there's so many players that go into the portal that there's that. And I feel like Indiana not doesn't have the NIL quite that Ohio State or Michigan or Oregon does, but they have a legit NIL, package that they can go out and get guys, right? And so I think that's the thing is I don't think he's bought into this NIL and the portal situation, right? He had to at James Madison. And I don't think a lot of coaches nowadays, some do, the ones that are still successful do, but I don't think a lot of coaches understand how it works that you don't just go out and get the best guys. You get the guys that are the best fit for your program and you coach them up. And I don't think a lot of coaches want to coach them up. They just want them to show up and be able to play.
Mhm.
I think that's I don't know.
I agree. You need to
I
get the right people. You need to
right.
get the right people, and it's clear that Indiana has the funding by the attendance at the national championship game.
Did you see
Uh,
some of the
and,
mall was packed too? Like their basketball arena was
Yeah,
packed.
and
They
I
were all,
and I understand that Mark Cuban probably had a little bit to do with that,
oh, 100%.
but still, I mean, it's not like Indiana is not a top Division 1 school. They really
Right.
are. They just sucked at football forever,
Yeah.
right? So they're still a university, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of great tradition at Indiana. It's just football people don't know it because they're not football people unless they happen to be basketball people as well.
Right. Right.
But no, dude, like I said, there's probably going to be a movie, definitely a book, I'm sure. Yeah, that's that. I mean, Mendoza's run at the end. That's going to be SB play of the year.
Yeah.
Um, you're going to see that on highlight reels for years to come.
Yeah.
It's just one of those plays, one of those moments, right? Like that
Yeah.
you're gonna see forever. This is when the Heisman winner showed his Heisman moment. That's a Heisman moment right there,
Yeah.
right? That's yeah. I earned this shit, right? Yeah, give me the ball. I got this. Uh,
That was a fourth
and
down
then
play too.
I say what?
That was a fourth down play
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah. And I thought dude, as soon as he took off, I was like, oh, he's stuffed.
He
Oh, he's
was before he
stuffed.
like he just jerked to the right of that and kind of jumped over him. It looked like he was going to come up short, but man, yeah,
And
that was
that's what he kept doing in Oregon, dude. When he was running, when I kept saying that, like, dude, do we not know this guy can run? But he's just deceivingly fast.
yeah,
He's not. He doesn't look like he's fast because he's big. He's a big lumbering guy, but he's moving. And I dare to say this. And I'm not saying he's at that level, but Josh Allen esque at that. On
right,
those type of runs, right? Like,
yeah,
just he's a big dude. You got to bring down and good for him. And then going back to officiating, like these dudes like forgot their flags the entire first half. Had to have them FedEx to the field apparently, and then yeah, we decided to throw a personal foul roughing the passer just because the dude pushed him in the chest. After, I mean, you watched. I mean, opening drive, dude gets punched in the mouth, bloodied up. Yeah, we're good. But
yeah,
now we're gonna call something like that. And I called it. Remember, I told you guys. I was like, they're gonna make some dumb call when it matters. And here we go. And that put them into field goal position,
yeah, yeah.
or
I
at least
mean,
close.
yeah, it was a good ball game. I'm not gonna lie, it was two good
Yeah,
teams, and I
I
have
think
a
it's for
theory. I
real
have a theory now. Going back to the whole, why did Miami get into the playoff?
because they belonged.
We can say that now, right? But I also at the time where they positioned Miami and how Miami moved despite not playing a game on championship weekend,
Uh,
the national championship game was in Miami. So why not give the Hurricanes a shot to play on their home field for the national title? I know I'm a conspiracy theorist on that, but I can you can look at it now and you'd be like, huh, it's never really happened where a team has moved up in the standings at conference championship week, right? And it did this year. Why? But we now know that they belong there, which is fine. I don't have, and they're a good team. Like that defensive line, those defensive ends for Miami are legit.
Dude,
Like,
that first drive when they just mowed them over, I was like, oh, wow, hold
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
This might be a bad deal.
It was impressive. Like,
Yeah.
and the DBs from Miami were locked down for most of the night. It was just took a couple of amazing catches from Charlie Becker to keep an Indiana drive alive here and there. So it was a good ball game. Like it was, you
I
know,
ain't mad. I ain't mad at all.
no,
I
same.
thought it was a good. I thought it was a good game.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I thought the worst part of the game was the officiating and both ways.
yeah.
And I just thought it was just like, what are we doing? Like, how can you not like? You got to be kidding me! And not
Right.
even just calls that like armchair quarterback calls, man. Like, bro, like that's how do you not see? You're on camera looking right at the guy. Like, why are you not throwing your
It's
flag?
almost as bad as that missed face mask call in the Ole Miss Georgia game.
Yeah, I know there was a couple of them, and McAfee because I watched the field pass, and right off the bat, dude, McAfee was all over the Big 12 officiating. He's like, "Oh, Big 12 officiating crew. Yep, they don't throw a whole lot of flags. Going to be a
They
lot of
were
holding
just
out here
clear that
today."
they did that they didn't that the Big 12 told their officiating crew, screw this game up a little bit because we didn't get two teams in the college football playoff and Miami got over one of our teams that should have been in. So
or they Miami found out that there was a Big 12 officiating crew and put them up in Motel 6 or some shit.
Oh, it's so true. So true.
Or they gave them an Airbnb with some people in the garage. That'll
Yeah.
throw off a
And
weekend
cameras
too.
all over the place, like we're watching you. So yeah. There's too many of you in the house. Get out of the way. Get out of there. We're gonna uh now that
Good
we're
times.
now that's been mentioned about possibly going to Vegas, for softball tournament again, it's just like, oh, not again.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of research this time.
Yeah,
We're gonna get it.
we're not gonna get, seats or tickets to a Knights game that are standing room only, no view this time. We'll
Yeah,
get legit seats. So
yeah. We're gonna look into our host. Maybe do the Verbo thing this time. Or I don't
yeah.
because I can't do the Airbnb anymore because Eddie came after me.
Yeah. Oh, oh. Anyways, so I put out a Facebook post last night about not last night. It was on Sunday about the series Land. Sorry, all of a sudden I'm congested. About the series Landman, the season 2 series finale. I'm not going to ruin it for you, Danny.
Please don't.
Was Sunday night, but man, we thought Yellowstone was good. I mean, Yellowstone was good. The Yellowstone was legit. I love Yellowstone, but Landman is just there's something
Real.
about Billy Bob Thornton that just is so genuine, like real, like it's crazy.
Authentic. He's an
Yeah,
authentic. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, he's. I'll be honest. I didn't watch Yellowstone either. I mean, I've followed it, things like that. I just don't get a lot of time to watch the shows, and when I do,
sure.
I don't. I'm usually watching sports, and the back of my eyelids are reading a book, and not like an educational book, like a rule book.
You have like
Uh,
ADD where you can't sit still.
Absolutely, 100%, dude. I can't. I stand up, and if you've ever watched games with me, very rarely do I sit down,
Right.
and then when I do, it's over. Anyways, but yeah, I told my wife that we're going to dedicate, this weekend we're going to sit down for a couple hours and start Landman, and I'm going to try to get off my feet a little bit more because that's probably why my knees are always so pissed.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, among other things. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna dedicate a little time to some land, man, and I can't wait. But yeah, Billy Bob Thornton, man, I've always enjoyed Billy Bob Thornton. I've always thought he was just the realest dude, and anybody that talks like him and acts like him, I'm down with, kind of
Yeah.
my type of dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a it yeah. It yeah. I'm just going to say I'm glad that they set it up for a season 3 for sure. So I'm very excited about that and one of my favorite shows. Yeah, it's just it was interesting too flying over when I flew to Dallas 2 weeks ago. We flew over West Texas, flew over Lubbock and all that stuff and you can see the patches where the oil rigs were at, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just thinking that's where they film Landman, like at those places and things like that. Like I don't know. It's a great show and Ollie Larder's in it and she looks good. Not gonna lie, she looks
I
good.
mean, there's no whipped cream bikini, but I'm sure she's aged finely, right? That's who
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
yeah,
That's who it is.
yeah.
That's who that is, right?
Right. Yep. So she's aged really well. And Sam Elliott comes in season 2,
Which, dude, anything you got Sam Elliott in is good. I
right?
mean, honestly, dude, it's anything he plays in. He's almost like I don't know, Denzel.
Yep.
Never been in a bad movie. Like he's just he does work, and that's right down his alley, right? Like
Right.
I was so a matter of fact, the last series or whatever they're called nowadays, that I really was dedicated to was The Ranch. And for those types of reasons, it just you can relate to those type of people and that type of stuff, and that of course Sam Elliott and just the no bullshit, growing up real life. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
Yep. Yeah, so there's another guy, and the funny thing is they have a uh one of the cast members is a bartender, right? At he like is a manager of the bar, right? That this place goes, and he is a I'm trying to find his name. Like, oh yeah, there he is. Casey Clyde is one of the bartenders. Well, he's the manager of the bartenders, right? You'll see as you get watching into it, the bar that they go to. But he's a bartender in West Texas, and he not in the movie. He's not Mormon, but like in real life, he's a Mormon. So it's kind of ironic how that works out.
Sure.
So it's good
Hey,
times. It's a great show.
just lean on your craft, man. I'm
Yeah,
just acting. I'm just acting, sir.
yeah, yeah. Good times. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got
So
NFL playoffs.
yeah, Josh Allen is out of the playoffs
Yeah, that's a bum deal. It really
in a
is. I
year
mean,
that there's no Lamar, no Patrick Mahomes, no Herbert. Who else could we say is not in there this year? Just
Burrow.
Joe Burrow, right? None of those superstars are in there, and he's on the outside looking out.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't like that they fired McDermott. That's a scapegoat move. I don't like that at all. Uh, I, bottom line, I mean, he'd been
Here,
telling them that they don't have, they haven't had enough weapons around Josh Allen, and Josh Allen can only be Superman so many times. You're going to
yeah.
make mistakes.
That's the big thing is they don't have any weapons around Josh Allen.
No,
James Cook is good.
yeah,
James Cook is one of the best running backs in the league. There's no denying that. Dalton Kincaid is hurt all the time, so you can't rely on him. And then who do you have? You know,
Diggs.
yeah, no, Diggs is in New England.
Oh,
So they
yeah,
have
yeah,
Keon Coleman, they have Khalil Shakir, right? They have Brandon Cooks, who's old, right? He's been around
hmm
the league forever. They don't have a superstar wide receiver for him to throw to. The one
No,
that
they
they
don't.
did, they let go for whatever reason, right,
Right.
to the Patriots. And that's all he has. He doesn't have
Yeah.
anything else. You give him a guy like Stafford has Puka Nakua, right? Um, who else would
And
you know
Devontae
Mahomes
Adams.
has Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, give him a superstar on the outside, a playmaker.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do now, right? Like, I mean, now you gotta. I mean, anytime you fire a head coach, now you're just what are you gonna? You're blowing things up. So now you got to find an offensive coordinator. Is the offensive coordinator gonna mesh with Josh? I don't know if they're keeping their offensive coordinator. I wouldn't imagine they do. But I just don't like. I don't like organizations firing coaches after successful seasons. And whether a successful season doesn't need to be winning the Super Bowl. Is that the ultimate goal? And is it
I
that the
think
ultimate successful season? Absolutely. That's what everybody strives for. But if you're a team that's getting into the playoffs and winning playoff games, and you've turned a franchise, in the right direction. You're going in the right direction. I don't know. I just don't like that. I mean, look at I like the franchises, and it's very, few and far between that, stick behind their head coaches. Look, Jerry Jones is dumb. Look how long he held on to, what's his name? Jason Garrett.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
he was always eight
I
and
think
eight,
I,
but
I think it's just the fact, and I'm not saying it's right by any means, but like you have Josh Allen, and year after year after year, you can't get past a certain point in the playoffs for whatever reason.
any coaching
Maybe
mistakes though that led to that? Can you think of though?
I mean, it could be, couldn't be. I don't know, but like you said, that's a scapegoat. They can't let go of their whole team, right? They
Yeah.
have to take it out that way. So I feel for Sean McDermott, but I think that's the problem with these organizations. They don't look inward and say, what do we have to do to get to a Super Bowl? We have a
How can we
superstar
help you?
quarterback. We have a superstar running back. We have a decent offensive line. What are we missing? You're missing wide
Mhm.
receivers that are good.
Yep.
that can be guys that have 100 receptions every year. You know, like I said, you have Puka with Stafford, and Stafford's still playing in the playoffs, right? You have Smith and Jigba with Sam Darnold, who's made Sam Darnold look like an all-pro this year, right? Justin Jefferson doesn't have a quarterback that can throw to him. When he did with Kirk Cousins, he was dynamite, right? You know, Keenan or Justin Herbert has Keenan Allen, what's his name, McConkey, right?
Lad
Uh,
Dip.
Bo Nix has Cortland Sutton, right? Um, you know,
Then
Jared Goff,
Troy,
Amon-Ra
Troy,
St.
what's his
Brown,
nuts? Yeah.
right? And Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase. Give the guy a superstar receiver. Like, if you have to, go give up some draft picks to the Vikings and say, Justin Jefferson, come play for us, be our number one guy. You
Yep.
know, be willing to make an adjustment, especially now that you're going into a new stadium. Your new stadium is going to be, that's where you're playing next year. Like, you've got to go get a superstar. And you don't have that guy on the outside. I know they thought Keon Coleman would be, but he's too young and he's immature and he's not ready for that spotlight, right? So, man, that's the thing that's killing him is he doesn't have a superstar guy that's a go-to guy, and he has to use his legs more, which puts him in danger of getting hurt.
But
And yeah, it's just
I did see some little rumblings that possibly that maybe that's what the GM and the director of football operations or the owner, I'm not sure how they're structured there, but they were actually upset when McDermott had told them in the off season that, he needed more weapons around
yeah.
Josh.
Well,
And
it's
maybe
not
there's
hard
some
to
of
see.
that
Anybody
too.
can see that, right? That's the only thing that's missing from that Bills team, to be honest, is that wide receiver playmaker on the outside.
Yeah, because their defense can play well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
You
so
know,
yeah,
so
that
go ahead.
that's unfortunate on the AFC side, man. Like
Well,
especially with
what's
the
more,
news to Knicks.
I was going to say that's the more important. That's super unfortunate now that you realize Bo Nix is out for the season and the Broncos still have to play in the AFC Championship game. So you're going to get a backup quarterback against arguably an MVP candidate in Drake May. Ah, man, it's just it's
And
hard. And he did it on the second to last play of the game.
yeah. And not only that, but you're going against a defensive minded coach that is going to just scramble your brain
Yeah,
as a quarterback.
yeah,
I mean, let's be honest, dude. I mean, Vrabel's got the inside track here.
yeah. Take the under if you're a better.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we got in the NFC. You know, you got the Rams who went into Chicago and took out
Lucked
Caleb
out.
Williams, and the Bears didn't let the heartbreak Bears come all the way back. You know, had to go to overtime. And then you got the Seahawks that are just kind of rolling right now. Like it's ridiculous what they're doing in Seattle at this point. But
And that was another bull call, wasn't there a shitty call? Wasn't there a roughing the passer also against Stafford that got them close to field goal
I
range
wasn't
towards the end of that?
watching it that night. I
Yeah.
can't remember what we were doing, but I wasn't watching it that night. So
Yeah. So yeah, so the Rams made it. I was going for the Bears there because I'm a lifetime Ram hater. Not quite as bad as the Raiders, but my older brother's was a Rams fan, and we've always been in the same division. And that's why my hatred don't run so deep for the Seahawks, because I did grow up in Southern Oregon, and the Seahawks were in the AFC, so I had no reason to hate the Seahawks. I had,
right,
I kind of rooted for them, but like everybody else in the Pacific Northwest, we really couldn't do shit. we'd be loaded and we'd be good and we'd get to the playoffs, but that's about it. So I don't really have the hatred for the Seahawks. Not to say I like the Seahawks by any means, because of our recent history since they've came to the NFC. So yeah, I don't like my pick there, or I don't like my choices,
yeah,
because it's really both teams that I just wish weren't there. But I mean, I can't be sad on my season, because the fact that we even made it to the divisional round was amazing, because we were just limping there. But Seattle did work. Seattle looked really good. They whipped our. Fortunately, the ending to my professional season was much like the ending to my
well, it's a shame too
college
because the
season.
Super Bowl is in Levi Stadium this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a bummer deal too. But But yeah, no, dude, I wouldn't have wanted to play in the Super Bowl with that squad anyway, dude. That'd have been embarrassing, dude. We just don't have anything. I mean, it'd have been nice to have Warner back. And don't get me wrong, if we were there, it'd be cool. But yeah, so I got Seahawks going against the Rams. It's gross. I gotta take the Sea Chickens, man, just because of it's the hatred outweighs in this decision. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, the last time they played each other, it came down to a 2-point conversion in overtime. Gutsy call.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the right
So
call, but like gutsy,
sure.
just so
Those are
hopefully
those.
this is fun this time.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. It's gonna be up in Seattle. This could be loud. It's
Yeah,
crazy up in the Northwest. Much like Indiana. We don't get there a lot. In that part of the country. So when
right.
we do, we show up and show out and get crazy.
Yeah. Should be a fun weekend of the NFL playoffs. NFL championship conference championship games. Sorry. AFC
Championship
championship,
game.
NFC championship. So it should be fun.
Yep.
My brother so to finish off, my brother texted me and my dad earlier. I guess Utah plays at BYU this week in basketball. What night is that? Saturday afternoon. And he was looking at tickets, and some people are selling upper bowl tickets for over $500 to that game. Yeah, crazy.
Holy
I told him, he's like, how can they charge this much? It's like, because people will pay it. Like, people will pay that much to go to a game, even if they're sitting up there that far, they will still pay that much. And so people put their tickets up for resale for that much because they know somebody's going to pay for it. So,
yeah. And if not, they won't buy them. Then I'll just go to the game.
yeah, right. Like, they probably bought them for $65, $70.
Oh yeah.
Initially, they're putting them up for that much because they feel like there's somebody's going to buy them so they could get a profit. But if not, then they're going to the game. So
Or
it doesn't hurt
selling
them.
them to their buddy for the same price.
Right. So
Is Utah good?
no.
No, just BYU's
But
that good. So
they played BYU well when they played at the Huntsman Center 2 weeks ago. I think it was a 5 or 6 point BYU win. So it was the only time the Huntsman Center's been sold out all year because there were so many BYU fans that filled in the extra seats.
Huntsman, I'm assuming, is in Salt Lake.
Is where the Utes play. The running Utes play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're not good. They're at the bottom of the Big 12. So,
Gotcha.
should be interesting. Should be very, very interesting. But, anyways, yeah, we've come to an hour and 2 minutes on this recording. So, we're going to end it. But John's going to maybe be mad at me for recording without him. Oh, well, he knows when we record, so he should block out his Tuesday nights anyways. He probably won't.
And you shouldn't post it till Thursday just to piss Damien off, just so he cries for an extended period of time tomorrow, and we can give him some teasers and yeah, his Broncos. Hey, I'm going to close with this. His waffling ass. Yeah. Let's talk about the guy that's got 35 favorite NFL teams in a
Yeah.
32 team league, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this guy has a Seahawks jersey in his closet, right? He is a Broncos fan, like he is a Broncos guy.
Yeah.
His pick for this weekend is the Rams and the Patriots. What a dipshit. What a dipshit. Go ahead.
And that is how we will end this episode. Hit the like and subscribe button, and tell our friend Damien that he needs to pick a team and stick with a team instead of being a bandwagon train hopping. I want to say something mean, but I'll just leave it at that, buddy. So anyways, we appreciate y'all. We'll see you on the next episode of the No Sauce Podcast, and have a great rest of your week.